So my first thing right away was blame. After that, I moved to fear. I'm afraid for women and their right to choose and their right to self-determination of their bodies.
Number 4, women's rights are human rights and will be equal in healthcare, workplace, or any other area threatened, including protection of reproductive rights and their right to choose what to do with their body, including the right to choose abortion.
So yeah, like there's protesters, patients will sometimes call in and ask us to come out and walk them in. I've been told I'm going to hell. I get that a lot. It's not really much of a threat. Everything from people trying to rescue me and tell me that I could find a different job. I just need a good man.
It's all of us united that's going to make a difference. The first thing when Trump got elected, when I woke up in the morning, the first thing I thought was, fuck the media. I was angry for them lifting up Trump and his BS.
I mean, I feel like from what I saw, they didn't really give enough coverage to what he actually said and what people were accusing him of, and gave more coverage to people defending him. And it's something that I think every victim knows or survivor knows, is people will jump through hoops to defend a rapist and very easily throw victims under the bus. And it's not always just like, oh, she deserved it. Sometimes it's more like, well, why would he need to do that?
And Donald Trump was winding up early this morning in traditionally Democratic Michigan.
There's no place I'd rather be for my last rally, right here.
The challenge in this election was, A, the two candidates involved. They were both historically unpopular. Donald Trump made news himself personally with his tendency to tweet overnight in reaction to events or things that had happened during the day before or overnight. And sometimes those tweets became news stories or the genesis of news stories. And so it was very difficult to decide what the story of the day really was. Because almost anything that you thought was the story was probably going to change. You can't explain an issue in a tweet. 140 characters is not enough. And you can't continue to do journalism as though you were Twitter.
I've just received a call from Secretary Clinton.
I think there's definitely a general mistrust. There was already a general mistrust. I'm not quite sure how you all could trust us less at this point. Only Congress has a lower favorability rating than the media in this country. The takeaway for us in the media from this election is, don't count so much on your polls, because those are not always accurate. I think the pollsters are going to have to go back and reconfigure how they do things. We in the media got much too distracted with the rhetoric.
The candidates making their final push, President Obama in New Hampshire on behalf of Democrat Hillary Clinton.
There's one candidate in this race who has devoted her life to that better America, the next president of the United States, Hillary Clinton.
We are living in what's known as a post-truth society. And that means that people are unwilling to let objective facts dislodge them from their personal beliefs based on emotion, which makes our job even more difficult, because people tend to go for affirmation journalism. You listen to the radio station or watch the TV channel that tells you what you already agree with and want to know. There are folks out there who are just posting flat-out lies that are then being treated as real news. Then you have to wonder who your users, readers, viewers, listeners, are they going to believe me?
Broadcasting from the Byers Dublin Mazda Subaru studios. They're under the big one, pal. You found today's variety. This is today's Sunny 95. Here's what you need to know on Sunny 95.
We have to police ourselves in order to exercise our responsibility under the First Amendment. The government can't do it. The only ways you can reform the media or change it is from the consumer's point of view stop watching channels that you know are bad, or stop reading newspapers or listening to radio stations you know are feeding you bad information, or from the supply side, and that is us going back and making sure that the product we're putting together is the best we possibly can, and know that even if it is not as flashy or even as popular as others, that it's our responsibility to deliver this. And if enough of us do that, we will be able to drown out the bad information and the bad media that's not ever going to completely go away.
As has already been said tonight, there's fear, but we can't act out of fear. We have to act out of love, and we have to act together. We have to fight against fear and against hate. That's part of what we're doing here tonight. So after I was angry and after I was scared, then I started thinking, okay, what the hell do we do? Like, what's next?
I guess I would like to think that one of two things are going to happen, I believe, and that is Mr. Trump's either going to be not a very good president, or he's going to be the greatest president this country's ever seen. And I hope that then, as that historical chapter transpires, the folks like, you, my daughters, my grandchildren, who are, still a long way from voting age, but my children are, millennials. They had their thoughts on who should have been president. I hope they look at that and go, wow. Everybody said this was going to be an election that changed this country forever. It really did. It changed it for the better, or it changed it for the worse. But that's why we vote in elections, and that's why they're important, and so don't sit on the sidelines. So yeah, my long-term wish for this election in general principles is that it reminds us all that democracy is a participatory sport.
We have to figure out how to make it for all of us, and part of it is building social movements like this. We just rush in and we participate and we stand up and we speak out and we continue to do it until we are a part of this. We belong here in this city, in this country, in this democracy, and it's time for us to transform our democracy.